This old girl's about to get some rhythm in her life. Hey YouTube gals and guys, it's a smoky day on the wet coast today. We've got some forest fires going on in the province. I think some forest fires in Washington state as well, is making the air hazy and smoky, but it's not raining. So I am gonna work on the F-150 today. I'm gonna do something that it's needed since I bought this truck when Abe Lincoln was still a young boy. I've had this truck a long time, and the whole time I've had it, that has been my dashboard. This truck has never had a stereo since I bought it. It's time to fix that. I need some tunes. Now that I have the exhaust toned down, I can hear myself think, so I want some music to listen to now. I bought a pair of 4-way 6-inch speakers and a basic Bluetooth stereo system off of Amazon, and I'm gonna install it in the truck today. Installing a stereo like this into a simple truck like this only requires simple hand tools. I may have to fabricate a bracket to hold the head unit in there. It doesn't look like there's really anything that I can anchor it to, but I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. At least the wiring looks like it's there. So the first thing I need to do is get the door panels off. See what I got behind these things. These panels come off so easy. There is a screw right here. There's a screw in the handle right here. And there's a torque screw right behind the window crank right there. Super easy to get off. So the first thing I'll do is I'll take the crank off. There's just a plastic cover that sits on, it just snaps on. There we go. It just snaps onto the crank and this panel moves back and you've got the Torx screw head there. Just undo that. And it just slides right out. There's a, some trim piece here as well. Keep that in a safe place. One Phillips head screw here. One Phillips head screw here. Oh, that's a long one. And that's it. The door panel will just pop right off. There's just snaps holding the panel to the door frame. There's this gasket around here. I think you can pull it off and give yourself some more room. Oh, that's pretty skanky, but whatever. And I lift up the door a little bit. You just pop off the lock here, and I think you can just slide it. There we go. And that is that. Well, what do you know? It's got speakers. Wow, that's dusty. Premium speakers too. It's too bad it didn't have a premium headset as well. These are held on with 4 Phillips head screws. I should, if they're not rusted to heck, I should just undo. Oh yeah, that's one. This is a relief because the door is already wired for sound now. So all I need to do is find the speaker wires, the colors, and where they end up in the dash over there. One speaker. All right, let's see how close the original speaker is in size to the replacement speakers that I bought off of Amazon. So depth-wise, the Blaupunkt is a little bit deeper, and it's got the 3 small speakers in here behind there. I'm hoping this will fit behind the door panel. It looks like it's about 3/4 of an inch proud. Speakers are the same diameter, which is good. I think at least 2 of the holes are drilled on the same pattern, so I will see what this looks like in the door. So right off the bat, I can tell I'm gonna have to snip the forward end off of that and put on just some blade terminals. It'll work with this speaker, and let's see how it fits in the door. So speaker held in with one screw. The size is perfect. I do have to drill new holes for the speaker itself, but yeah, I can live with that. It's a 30-plus-year-old pickup truck. I'm not going for symphonic sound in this thing. Just put the door panel on temporarily. I can see that it just slightly pushes out the grill here, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. It's not touching the speaker element itself. That should be good. So unfortunately, the colors of the wires do not match with any of the wires that are hanging loose from the original stereo install. I am gonna have to test each one of these using the multimeter to see which ones end up in the door. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that these are probably one pair and these are another pair. It looks like maybe whoever had the truck before me had some kind of stereo system in here which had multiple leads going to each speaker. I don't know, but that's going to be my guess. This is the original stereo connector. There's two of them. Not sure how they were wired up. Don't care to look online. I'm just going to check out these wires, see where they go to. So using the multimeter on the continuity setting, which is that one, if I've got a wire that goes from here to there, it will beep. And I just have to find out which wire over on the dashboard matches with which wire on the speaker. One nice thing about using one that's got an amp clamp on it is you just hang it on stuff. Works great. And there's one. And there's the other. So using the ohm meter, I've determined that this pair here goes to the right door speaker and this pair here goes to the left door speaker. So that's pretty straightforward. I can just snip those and solder the new stereo's harness into those left and right speaker wires. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to snip those ends off and solder on blade connectors and get this speaker installed. This is a blade terminal kit you can buy off of Amazon. They're super handy to have around if you do any type of automotive electrical work. I just need to find a large one and a small one for the terminals on the speaker there. I'm pretty sure I've got them. Starting with the negative lead, I'm just cutting off the old Ford connector and soldering on blade connectors that are compatible with the speakers I've bought. Putting the door panels back on is just as simple as reversing the removal process. All right, I've got the driver's side door speaker installed and the door all reassembled. I didn't bother recording that for you because it's exactly the same thing as the passenger side door. Just as quick, just as simple. But now on to the fun part, installing the head unit. Now, in a lot of my other videos, I mentioned disconnecting the battery before doing any electrical work. This is one of the exceptions to that rule because I need to figure out what the power is in this mess of wires here. Now, I can cheat a little bit because I've installed a trailer controller here before. I know that this is a positive wire. It's always live. I need one of those for the memory of the stereo system. I need to find a wire in there that is only live when the accessory switch is on or when the engine is running, and a ground wire, which I can also cheat because I put one in for the trailer controller. So this shouldn't be too hard. What I need to do is figure out what I'm going to do with this mess here. So I'm going to use the multimeter Just to make sure that I'm not doing anything dumb, I need to look for that one wire that is only live when the engine's on. And then I can install the stereo. But I fully expect I should move this bezel first. So I'll do that now. So first I'm gonna connect a jumper cable to a known working ground, which is gonna be some piece of metal in here, but I need to get this bezel off, and I think it should just pop off. It does. Look at that. Oh, I love pickup trucks. They are so easy to work on. Oh yeah, look at this. This is gonna be easy. Hey look, my antenna. Not that I ever listen to the radio, because there's nothing but junk and ads anymore. So, finding a ground. There's a little bit of metal back here. It's going to be grounded to the chassis. I'm just going to put this alligator clip on there. And then connect it to one end of my multimeter. Switch it to DC. Connect it to the ground lead, which is always going to be black, and that didn't hang on there very well. I'll have to do that again. Alright, so this wire here should be live. Find a place to hang that. Alright, I was wrong. This is the one that might be live when the accessories are on. Yes. Alright, so this wire is going to be the one that's going to power the stereo when the ignition is on. And I just need to find the other wire, which has 12 volt power all the time for the memory. Let me see if any of the original stereo wires does that for me. I suspect maybe some of these. That's a red, usually means positive. It's pretty heavy gauge. Let's give it a try. So that, nope. Try this orange one. Yep. So this black and orange wire comes on with power. I may just use that one instead of the one that I wired in earlier, just because it's a little heavier gauge. It's a 200 watt stereo. Yeah, take it for what it's worth. I don't know, it's only 50 bucks. But I'm gonna use this one instead because it's already here. It doesn't go anywhere else. It's probably wired into the fuse block as the radio already, so let's do it. Now, try and find the one that is live all the time. Not that one. Let's try the other block. Oh, hey, look at that. Here's a wire just dangling here. Got a little tiny bit of wire exposed here, and it's 12 volts live. That is... I mean, it's good for me because I'm going to use it for the stereo, but all these years this could have arced and shorted on a piece of metal in there. Great. This will be the power to the stereo that retains memory. This will be power to the stereo when it's on. The rest of these I'm just going to tuck back in here. There's no loose ends. I don't care about them. Time to get stereo up. There's the harness. Look how tiny that is now that we don't have compact disc players anymore. So the manual will have the schematics. It'll have a harness that you hook up. going to have lots of extra wires that I don't need because I don't have a power antenna. I don't have a power, well, I do have power inputs. This will be the one that actually powers the stereo. Typically yellow is the main power, so when the stereo is on with the accessory, the red will be the memory, so that's going to go live all the time, and the black will always be ground. Definitely check the manual because, you know, sometimes I'm wrong. Yep, so red is accessory, meaning on when the engine's on. Black is ground, and yellow is power. So the yellow is going to go to the orange one I just cut, and the yellow is going to go to this green one, which is live. And then there's a ground in here somewhere. I'll use it. Actually, that's a good point. I should probably take ground off of here if it's available. And then the rest of these are speakers. Now, I only have dual speakers in this truck, left and right front. This is capable of powering front and rear. Just need to look at the manual to see which ones are which. They'll be paired in colors, so that, like, for example, this one's purple with black on one of them, that one there, and then purple. So that'll be one speaker. The whites will be one, the greens will be one, and the grays will be one. Just keep them in pairs. In this case, white is front left and gray is front right. The other two I don't need, so it's going to be the white and the gray. So I don't need the green and the purple. I'm just going to tie them in a knot just to, you know, so I don't forget which ones I don't need, and it also keeps them out of the way. Could use a zip tie, but you know, it's just too fancy. It's a 1987 Ford F-150. What do I need to be fancy for? So I'm going to get some shrink wrap and a lighter, and I'm going to start soldering this stuff together. I'm really not a fan of crimp-on connectors in automotive applications because they're just a mechanical connection, and subject to corrosion, they can, if they're not crimped properly, they can pull out. Just a bad jam all around. Don't like them. I'd much rather take the time of using solder and shrink wrap. And some people say that soldering connections in automotive applications is a bad idea because the solder is brittle and it can break due to vibration over time, but I've never had that happen. I still trust it more than these types of crimps. So, bye-bye. And because that is live, I do need to be careful. I also want to use something that's sort of like is the right color shrink wrap for, you know, something that's live, like a red. That's too thick. That one's not too bad. Yellow would also work. These are pretty skinny. Here's a short piece of red. I'm going to use that. Just going to double check is currently live. Switching back to voltage, showing 12 volts. Double check. Yellow is power. And that'll be the one. And that's already, look at that. They've already pre-cut it for me. One of, what, 7 connections I need to make? Easy enough. Now, this orange one is the accessory power, and that's going to go to red. This doesn't need to be in the way anymore. And the ground, which I need to figure out. I'll do that last. This is the power antenna lead. You know, if you've got an antenna that goes up when you turn on your radio, you'd connect that, but I don't. least I don't have to be fancy with my soldering now. Speakers are connected. I just need to get a ground wire hooked up and then I can test the radio. Or maybe I'll test the Bluetooth instead and not get busted for YouTube copyright. Yeah, this wire here is a ground. It goes to the cigarette lighter. It's also the half of the circuit for my trailer controller power switch. I'm just going to splice into that. If you can handle the draw of a cigarette lighter, it's going to be plenty fine for a stereo. So I will snip, splice, and shrink that. And then I should have a working circuit for the stereo. And I can move on the actual physical mounting of it. And I can confirm that that is ground with my multimeter. Switch it to continuity. We've got to get ground on one end, and this will beep. This is ground on the other end. Uh-oh. Oh, sorry. Wrong wire. There we go. I should now have a stereo that will turn on when I turn on the accessory switch of my ignition. Let's see what happens. I have static in stereo. Amazing. Now, Bluetooth, where are you? Exhaust system I put together, and I'm going to use a new exhaust kit that I bought from Amazon, and I'll show you what that is. This is a Crator, I don't know how to pronounce it. Complete
it's playing my own YouTube channel.
Kit.
It works.
You can get this off of Amazon. I'll see if I can find a link and throw it in the description. So now the next thing I need to do is figure out how this is going to mount into the actual dash itself. I've got a couple of screw holes here that I might be able to use. It depends on if I can adapt something with the actual faceplate here. I'll see you in a minute. These little keys are used to get the faceplate off. I don't know if it slides in there or what, but I'm just going to use it like that on the other side. I could RTFM, but that's just too easy. All right, so this is my bezel.
Stereo's gonna sit in there like that. It's not a horrible fit. Somebody has hacked on this bezel at some point in the past, so it's like been made wider. It will be okay like that. That'll be all right. I just need to figure out how to get this mounted into the dashboard, and I might be able to do it with a bit of metal. Yeah, it's a long way away. What else have we got in the kit? That's about it. Yes, I am definitely going to have to do something of my own. This thing is so light, I don't really think I need to do much as far as anchoring it in place. The opening is very wide, but the stereo is very light, so I don't think I need to do too much other than maybe make a plate that's going to go to these screw holes here with a cutout for the stereo itself. And then that should be enough to hold it in place because, like I said, it's a very light little stereo. There's nothing to it. Not like the old stuff where it was heavy and it would, you know, have leverage down on the back trying to push it into the wiring and stuff. So I need to figure out what to do with that. Yeah, I got some cutting and grinding coming up. All right, so it's getting late in the day. I'm getting tired. I don't want to make mistakes because now I've got to make a bezel here or some type of plate that's going to hold the stereo in, and I just don't want to do that tonight. So I'm going to continue this tomorrow. I've got the wiring done. I know it works. The stereo works. Power's on. Sounds not too bad. Speakers are all right. It'll do me just fine. I will get back at this tomorrow because tomorrow's always another day.
And it's the next day. So all I need to do now is make a faceplate to mount the head unit into the dash, and that'll pretty much be the whole installation. So I'll show you what I'm going to do.
I've got a piece of stainless steel plate that I'm going to cut out in a rectangular shape, drill the holes here and here, there and there, and then cut out the square for the actual head unit itself. And the head unit will mount to the stainless steel plate, and then it'll be screwed to the dash here and here. And that should be it. Everything else works. So I need to make it, call it 9.5 inches wide by 2 1/4 tall. That'll be my template. Looks good. Now I'm going to need both hands just to mark the holes. Using a little bit of paper and a pencil, I'm going to measure that out. 9.5 by 2 1/4. That'll be my template. Looks good. Now I'm going to need both hands just to mark the holes. That will be a problem, so I'm going to have to add another 1/8, or maybe even change the shape of this. Let's find out.
So after measuring again, I decided to add almost 1/4 inch to the top of the template, as well as another 1/4 inch to the bottom of the template, so that the faceplate that's going to mount and hold the stereo is a little bit beefier. Shopcat comes to inspect work and to make sure that work is happening. I've verified the fit of the paper template, and now it's time to transfer it to the steel plate and get cutting.
So the basic shape is done. I'm going to put the bezel on and just trace the outline of where the opening on this is. And that'll give me a general idea of where the opening for the stereo has to go.
I transferred the mounting holes to the plates so I know where to drill, and now it's time to cut out the stereo deck opening, grind off the sharp bits, test fit it, and do some fine tuning.
One of these days I'm going to fix the switch on this grinder so it isn't always on. Okay, I've got the plate made that's going to support the head unit. I have to insert that, and there's these little tabs to bend up that holds that in place. I'll just slide in there. He says just like that. It does fit. There we go. And then connect it all up and put the bezel on, and we'll see how that fits. Well, the stereo install is done. It doesn't sound too bad. It's not the prettiest installation, but it's what I could do with what I had, since one of the previous owners had cut up the bezel around the original stereo. It's better than the last 15 plus years of not having any music at all. And bonus, I can actually charge my phone while driving now. Sweet. Well, that completes this video, installing the stereo into my 1987 Ford F-150, something it's never had since the day I bought it. I'm happy with it. If you made it this far through the video, kudos to you. It's been a long one. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you like what I'm doing with this channel, why don't you subscribe and help me out? I'd appreciate it. Regardless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.